Good evening, everyone. I am Anika Pasi, second year E&E student at DTU, and on the behalf of IEEE DTU, I welcome you all to today's informational session on Web 3.0. Welcome to the world of decentralization. On today's agenda, we have a range of intriguing topics like evolution of web, introduction to Web 3.0, centralized versus decentralized systems, what is blockchain and how it works, future scope of Web 3 and opportunities in the Web 3 space, and last but not the least, introduction to Gitopia. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome today's amazing guest speaker, Tech Evangelist Loveneesh Dhir sir. Loveneesh sir works as a developer relations engineer at Gitopia, which is a decentralized code collaboration platform. He's also a program manager at Comedal, where he plays an active part in building a developer-centric platform focused on bringing developers and their communities together. Apart from that, he is a vocal open source advocate and a community lead as well as Explore ML facilitator at Google Developers. So now, I invite Lavneesh sir to take over from here and continue with the session.
Thank you for such an warm introduction, Annika, and I'm really great for to IEEE DTU for providing me this opportunity. And without wasting time, I'll start sharing my screen and let's get started with the session. So, just a second, I'm presenting my screen. Okay, I have started presenting my screen. Hope it's visible. Okay, great. Basically, the topic of today's session is introduction to Web3 basics. Basically, we'll be talking about what Web3 particularly is and what are the different aspects of Web3. And after that, we'll move on to Gitopia. So, let's discuss about the agenda. Before that, here is my introduction. So I am Loveneesh and I am a DevRel engineer at Gitopia. So as Anika already mentioned that I have been an active part of various student communities. So Here is my Twitter handle. If you want to connect with me or if you have any doubts or queries after this session, you can note it down, connect with me, and you can ping me anytime. I'll be there to help you. Apart from that, tweets are highly appreciated. You can mention me and Gitopia in your tweets, and we would love to see your tweets and your feedback through the tweets as well. So let's move forward to the agenda of today's session. So today, what we are going to cover is the session is around Web3. Without uh, discussing about the evolution of web, you'll not be able to grasp the concept of Web3 entirely. We'll be starting with the evolution of web. After that, we'll discuss what Web3 particularly is. And after discussing Web3, we'll be having a discussion on centralized versus decentralized system. After that, we'll discuss about what is blockchain, how it works, use cases of blockchain, future opportunities, and future scope of Web3. And in the end, we'll have an introduction of Gitopia. So, what particularly Gitopia is. So, let's get started with the evolution of web. Basically, in 1970s, web was firstly like the internet, not the web. We can say that the internet came into place in 1970s. Basically in 1970, APRANET was formed. APRANET was a project by US military. It is an abbreviation for Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, and it was the first public switched computer network. Talking particularly about what APRANET is, APRANET was the first wide area packet switched network with a distributed control, and this was the first network to implement the TCP and IP protocol. So the TCP and IP protocol was also introduced in like 1970s. So after that, World Wide Web was introduced in 1990s. So in 1983, around 1983, Tim Berners-Lee, he was a scientist at CERN. So basically he started working on developing HTML. And as you know now that the entire web industry is based on HTML. So basically he worked on HTML, he developed HTML, and developed the URL as well, which gave a birth to the World Wide Web. So this World Wide Web was uh, like transformed into Web 1.0 in 1995. So the first publicly available internet was Web 1.0. So Web 1.0 was the first iteration of internet. So what particularly was offered in Web 1 was only read only website. So that's why it is also called as read only web. Okay, so let's uh, move forward. Okay, so discussing Web 1.0 in a bit detail as well. So basically, Web 1 was only known as read only web, as the participants could only read what is being displayed, and they were not able to interact with the web. So uh, in Web 1, the Web 1 was not controlled by anyone. And if someone has internet, they can access the web pages and they can browse the stuff. So in Web 1, users were the consumers of the content created by others. So basically, the Web 1 in Web 1, content creators were very limited, and there were developers who listed their websites over internet in the era of Web 1. And in 2005, Web 2.0 came into the limelight. So basically Web 2.0 is called the social web. So Web 2.0 is the web that we are currently using. ठीक है. So what particularly was the difference between Web 1.0 and 2.0 was Web 1.0 was read only web, and Web 2.0 was read and write web. ठीक है. So basically Web 2.0 is also known as social web. So this social web allowed users to interact with the internet, and it also gave users an option to create their own identity. So with the era of Web 2.0, websites like Facebook, Twitter, etc. came into uh, existence, and we can create our own digital identity on these platforms. So rather than browsing through static web pages, we can create content in Web 2.0. And in Web 2.0, users are the creators as well as the consumers. ठीक है. And for Web 3.0, we'll discuss Web 3.0 in detail in the later slides. Sorry. So basically, just here. So Web 3.0 is the decentralized version of web based on blockchain, and it incorporates decentralization and token based economy. Okay, so here is a quick comparison between Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. So Web 1.0 was the initial state of web. Web 2.0 was the social web, and Web 3.0 is the semantic web. So Web 1 was read only web, Web 2 was read write web, and Web 3 was the decentralized executable web. Web 1 works on the information economy, Web 2 works on the platform economy, and Web 3 works on the token economy. These are the points that we have already discussed. In Web 1, users can read only static web pages. In Web 2, users can interact with web and other users. In Web 3, user will own the data. So while talking about like Web 2, at the current stage, we are not the sole owners of the data or the content that we create. Okay, so basically, like let's say that we are using Facebook, है ना? So the content that we are posting over Facebook, it is not owned by us. It is owned by the decentralized, oh sorry, centralized players, the big companies. Like the content that we post over Facebook is owned by the Meta, the Meta company, which owns Facebook now. है ना? And same for the Twitter and other stuff. Web 1 was static, Web 2 was dynamic, and Web 3 was Web 3 is decentralized. So we'll discuss this decentralized aspect of Web 3 in detail in the coming slides. So what was the use of Web 1? So like Web 1 was mainly about providing content to the users. So Web 2 came with agenda of using advertising as a business model. So basically, like advertising as a business model means using user data to provide custom ads or targeted ads for the users. And Web 3.0 focuses on the ownership, privacy, and transparency of the user. So these are the key differences between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. You can keep a screenshot of this slide and like refer to it, or you can came to this YouTube video and you can anytime refer to it if you want to differentiate between Web 1, Web 2, or Web 3. Okay, so as we already discussed that Web 2 is the web that we are currently using. So what are the problems with Web 2? So Web 2 comes with censorship. So let's say that if you are using Twitter and you posted a tweet which don't matches the ideology of some political party, or it don't matches the ideology of the Twitter guidelines, so they can censor your tweet or your account anytime. They can ban your account anytime. Secondly, data loss. So the data of the Web 2.0 is stored in centralized servers. So let's say that these servers crashes, so the data is also lost along with it. The third thing is data hacks. So Web 2.0 is prone to hacks. It is easy to hack a website or a product which is on Web 2.0. Fourth is surveillance. So basically, someone is always spying. So we have installed many applications, we browse through many websites, and along in these applications we gave many permissions, we sign the agreements we don't know. So I don't think like any one of you who are viewing this session reads the TNC document of any application that you are installing on your uh, desktop, or any application that you have installed on your Android or iOS device. So those contains like many things that will give you a hint that you are on surveillance. The fifth thing is monopolies. So these big players have their monopolies in policy making and decision makings around the platform. And the sixth problem with Web 2 is advertising. So as we already discussed that these Web 2 players use our own data to give us those targeted ads. So as we can see that the response to Web 2 is amazing, but soon the users are realizing that the internet was owned by no one at the time of Web 1, but now it is being controlled by a few tech giants. So the users now are realizing the fact that if like we are not paying for using Facebook or Instagram, then we are not the customers, we are the products. And now we have no control over our data, like we don't know where it is stored and with whom it is shared. So these big companies not only own this data, but they also know the places visited by users. So these big companies, or the apps that we use by these big companies, have our location permissions and many permissions, which leads to give them information about our day-to-day activities as well. So what these companies do is they start to sell the user data, or the data created by us while browsing through the apps, and they uh, use this data to get insights and provides customized recommendations and ads. This leads to lack of privacy. So discussing about the data hack thing. So web 2 is very likely to be vulnerable to attacks. So there is a single point of failure. For example, if someone attacks a website through a DDoS attacks to take the website down, all they have to do is they have to attack the website that they want to hack itself. So let's say we want to hack or we want to take down YouTube, or we want to take down Twitter. So we just have to do a DDoS attack on the a Twitter website or YouTube website only. So these were the problems with Web 2. Okay, let me check if there is some question. Okay, so what is information economy and platform? So Kushagra has already answered that. So information economy is the economy that was driven on spread of information and communication, and platform economy is driven by monopoly of data and solely dependent on the usage of or data in the product. So thank you, Kushagra, for answering the question. Okay, so let's move forward then. Okay, so let's discuss about Web 3.0. So Web 3.0 came with three major changes. First was the token economy, second was the decentralization, and third was the privacy and security aspect. So by token economy, we mean that money will become the native feature of internet. By decentralization, we mean that the data is not owned by any centralized entity, but the data is now owned by the users themselves. And the third, privacy and security thing. With this, we the users will have more control over our digital identities and data. ठीक है. Okay, so now let's discuss about centralized and decentralized networks. So what particularly centralized and decentralized networks are? So in a centralized network, there is a central authority that governs and handles the network. So an example of a centralized network can be like Twitter or Facebook. Like here, the like Twitter itself is the central authority that governs and handles the network. So the advantages that we get with this centralized network is command chain. There is reduced costs and there is consistent output. So and the disadvantages that we get with centralized network is the centralized network is not trustable. So by not trustable, I don't mean that we can't even trust on any centralized network. So by this we mean that there is a lack of trust in the centralized networks. So even though these centralized organizations are secure and trustable, they are not 100% secure. And the trust is an agreement that is set by the service provider and the user, and uh, it is an agreement that can break easily. So uh, we see that these big corporation suffers from trust issues from their users from time to time. So there are many like data leaks, and there are many times like we have seen users complaining about like they have recorded video of something on Snapchat, and now they are seeing customized Snapchat stories on the basis of that leak. The second thing is security issue. So or we can say that single point of failure, so it falls under a security issue. So centralization also implies that the whole network is dependent on a single point of failure. Organizations already know about this disadvantage, and hence they have deployed measures to like protect it. But however, there is always a chance for this failure, and it is a big disadvantage for the critical services. So basically, let's say that I use ICICI Bank. Okay. So let's say that due to some reasons, a server of ICICI Bank crashed. So it is because of the single point of failure. So if the server will crash, I'll not be able to use any services, internet based services, or like I will not be able to use the ATM services offered by ICICI Bank. Why? Because there is no flow of data between the server. So this is a very big disadvantage in the centralized network. The third disadvantage is scalability limitation. So basically, in most of the centralized networks, a single big server is used, and it leads to scalability limitations. So now coming to the decentralized networks. So what decentralized networks are? So these decentralized networks are which in which there is no central authority that governs and handles the network. So these decentralized networks rely on peer-to-peer networks. They are built of peer-to-peer networks on a community of users, whereas uh, in which no single identity is like ever in control. So in this case, like various internet devices act as host of the internet rather than a group of powered servers. So advantages of decentralized networks are you get full control. So one of the most significant advantage of the decentralized networks is full control of data and full control of their transaction. So basically this means that they can start a transaction when they need to and when they want to do it without any need to authorize it from a central authority. So in simple terms we can say that like let's say that I have to send money some money to someone, है ना? So if I have to send some money, so this uh, if we do it through the centralized process, then that transaction is needed to be verified from um, like what we can say a centralized authority. And if we do the same in our decentralized network, the verification process is not dependent on the third parties, and decentralized network uses a consensus mechanism to do that. So we'll be discussing about the consensus mechanisms, or you can say consensus methods, that are used to verify the transactions, or verify the information in the later slides. So the second advantage of decentralized network is immutable data. So what I mean through immutable data is uh, the data cannot be altered or deleted particularly. So basically a decentralized network uses blockchain technology. So blockchain's data structure is append only. So that implies that there is no chance for anyone to modify or alter the data when it is stored. So this is why there is high security as well. So there is no loss of data as well. And the third advantage is high security. So decentralized networks are secure because of the method by which they handle and deal with the transactions and data. So these decentralized networks use cryptography to ensure that data ledgers are secure. So talking about other advantages of decentralized networks over centralized networks is censorship. So decentralization also means less censorship or no censorships. So in a centralized system there is more chance of uh, there are many chances that information can be censored. But in a decentralized network is less prone to censorships because there is no central authority that controls the data. So in the case of decentralization, peers can interact directly, and therefore there is no or less censorships. Another advantage of a decentralized network is open development. So talking about open development is most of the decentralized networks, or most of the decentralized projects are open sourced. Okay, so moving forward with the disadvantages of decentralized networks. So these decentralized networks are a bit costly compared to centralized networks. So this is because it requires setting up of system that can make communication more automatic. So that's why. So another disadvantage is misuse of authority. So as the users are sole owners for data, so they can sometimes misuse their authority as well. And the third disadvantage is volatility. So basically decentralized networks run on a token based economy that we have discussed it earlier as well. So these use this is done with the help of cryptocurrencies, which are volatile in nature, and their prices fluctuate a lot. But there are some stable coins as well, so depends. Okay, so let's move forward. So here is a quick comparison between centralized versus decentralized systems. So you can take a snapshot of this, or you can, if you want, and let's discuss this. So you can say it as a quick recap of everything that we have discussed till now in regard to centralized versus decentralized systems. So there is no third party involvement in decentralized systems, and there is third party involvement in centralized systems. So in centralized system the control is by central authority, and in decentralized system the control is in hands of the users. Centralized system is more prone to hacks, whereas decentralized system is less prone to hacks. So there is a chance of single point of failure in centralized system, whereas there is no chance of single point of failure in decentralized systems. So centralized systems are intuitive and easy to use. Decentralized systems are not that easy to use as centralized systems. So exchange fees is higher in centralized system, and exchange fee is uh, less in decentralized systems. So what do we mean by exchange fees? Okay, so let's take an example. So let's uh, say that I have to send money to my friend. ठीक है? So if I have to send money to my friend through my bank account, and it's a huge amount, like it's in crores, so it will ask for let's say I am sending it through PayPal. So I think PayPal takes like 15 to 20% of transaction fees, which is much higher. And let's say that I am not using PayPal now to send the money to my friend, and now I am using a cryptocurrency, and I am sharing this money to my friend through uh, any from my wallet to his wallet, his crypto wallet. So this wallet can be of any of the providers that are present in the market. So the exchange fees that wallet will take at max would be around 300 rupees, I think, for a large amount as well. So this is the exchange fees wall aspect. So we haven't discussed this in the previous slide. So okay, so let me go through the comment section and check if there is any doubt. Okay, so the first question is, so normal payments through PayU are on Web3. So basically, I haven't used PayU, but as far as I know, PayU is a centralized identity. So it's a payment gateway. As far as I know, PayU is a payment gateway. Like Razorpay particularly. So basically, these are centralized identities, and uh, these are payment providers for online merchants, and all these payments are on Web 2 and not on Web 3. Okay, so the second question is by Paras. So Paras is asking of what is semantic web. Okay, so basically, semantic web is another name for Web 3. So uh, it is an extension of like uh, the web, and basically semantic web means giving an extension to the existing internet that we are using, which provide Web3 functions such as decentralization, token based economy, etc. Okay, so I don't think there are any questions now. Okay, great. So let's move forward then. Mm, okay, here is a pictorial representation of how centralized and decentralized systems appear in place. So basically, in this centralized system, these are the servers, and these are the users. So devices by users. So these devices and the central servers communicate through the help of internet. Okay, so rather we are browsing Facebook, or we are using Spotify, or we are using internet banking, what we are doing is we are using our devices. Our devices are communicating with the centralized servers of particular identities. So this may be the server of Spotify, this may be the server of Facebook, and this may be the server of a bank company. So our devices are communicating with these servers with the help of internet. So these all are centralized servers. So all of the user data of the whole company is stored in one server itself. And this is the case of decentralized internet. So basically in decentralized internet, there is a peer-to-peer connection. So there are many devices, and the data is stored in the decentralized databases. Okay, so let's move forward. So let's talk about the like advantages of Web3. Okay, so what makes particularly Web3 so unique? So Web3 is powered by AI. So the second thing is Web3 is unique. So basically every devices that will be connected to our networks, the content can be accessible by various applications. So there is enhanced connectivity in the case of Web3. So Web3 uses semantic metadata to provide users a better connectivity. Apart from that, we have already discussed that Web3 works on peer-to-peer network. So basically, peer-to-peer network is a decentralized networks that dissolves the need of a centralized authority. Another thing is 3D graphics. So like many of the people nowadays are talking about metaverse. So basically, Web3 is also about utilizing virtual reality and making it more realistic and natural looking. And another thing is semantic web. So semantic web understands contents of web rather than focusing on the keywords and the numeric values only. Okay. So these are the things that collectively make Web3 more unique. So having a quick recap over Web3. So basically the Web3 0.0 was or we can say Web 3.0 is an addition to Web 2. So basically Web 3.0 came into place because of the problems present in Web 2. So all the developers united to overcome the issues present in Web 2, and they started to build the next generation of internet, which is the decentralized internet. So, by decentralized internet, we mean that the connection is on a peer-to-peer networks. So, what we mean by a peer-to-peer network is the network is running on millions of computer worldwide, and not on some localized data center like the centralized ones. So, a decentralized network, in other ways, words, lacks centralization. This means that the control of internet shifts to the individual user itself, and the this also results in privacy along with it. And we can say that the user is the sole owner of the data that he or she is creating. Okay. So basically we also have a question by, I forgot the name, just a second, let me check, by Paras, that what is semantic web. Okay. So basically Web3 is also, as already told, that Web3 is referred as semantic web. So it is a term coined by the founder of World Wide Web. है ना? So it hints at the idea that a the new era of internet will be more autonomous, intelligent, and open. So basically, the Web3 protocols that, or we can say that the applications that are built using Web3 protocols are known as DApps or decentralized apps, and they cannot be shut down by political entities, corporations, or anyone out there. So, and any one of us with a computer can take part in running decentralized networks. So, another advantage of Web3 is users can earn money. So, this is possible because of decentralized apps and other Web3 services that are powered by the cryptocurrency tokens. So every time you use, improve, and interact with your or any of the Web3 application, you earn tokens. The more you participate, the more tokens you'll get, and you can either hold on to your tokens, or you can exchange those tokens for like fiat currencies by using the uh, exchanges that are present. So in the end, like, we can say that Web3 is a internet which is owned by the builders and its users itself. Okay. So this was a quick recap of what particularly Web3 is, and now we'll move forward to what is blockchain. So basically, we have discussed that Web3 is built over blockchain. So, but what particularly blockchain is? So, talking about the theoretical aspects. So, basically, blockchain is the technology that is used to make digital currencies secured by cryptography, or we you can say digital cryptocurrencies only. ठीक है. So basically there are in here is structure of a blockchain. So this is the genesis block. So the genesis block is the first block of a chain, of a blockchain. So you can see that this is the hash of this particular, sorry, this is the hash of this particular genesis block. So each block is connected with each other by using the previous hash. You can see that this is the hash of this block and the next block, and it is connected with the previous block with the help of the previous hash, and this is the latest block. This is how a blockchain looks like. So blockchain, as I already told you, is immutable. So basically, immutable implies that it is unchangeable, and a transaction or a recorded file over blockchain is cannot be changed. So this blockchain technology uses a distributed digital ledger, or a digital record for the transactions, all the transactions that you make, and the data is stored on multiple places on a computer network. So basically, like, we can say that the two fundamental properties of blockchain are that blockchain is immutable, and blockchain has a distributed ledger. So we can also say that, like, this immutability of the ledger. So as I already told you that what a ledger is. So ledger is a digital record of transactions or data stored in multiple places on a computer network. So once we have stored some data on a computer network or digital records of transactions over a computer network, and it is immutable, so no one can alter that. So this implies that we can always trust it to be accurate. Okay, so this is the thing with the blockchain. And being distributed, like as we have already discussed, the decentralized systems, like the data is distributed across the internet over multiple decentralized servers and devices. This distribution makes the data more secure and less prone to hacks. Okay, so let's move forward. So this is the structure of a block. A block consists of data that we are going to store in that particular block. Apart from that, we have hash of the previous block stored in the data as well, and we have the hash of current block of blockchain. So data can be anything, and the previous hash is the fingerprint, or we can say that address of the previous block, and the block hash is the fingerprint of current block, or we can say that it is the fingerprint of, oh sorry, what we can say, address of the current block in a chain. Okay, so there are four types of blockchain. The first one is public blockchain. So a public blockchain is a open decentralized network of computer accessible to anyone wanting to request or validate a transaction. The second type of blockchain is private blockchain. So these private blockchains are not open. So they have many restrictions particularly. So people who want to join require the permission from the system administrator to join a private blockchain. So basically these private blockchains are typically governed by one entity, and this implies that they are somewhat centralized. So an example for a private blockchain would be a hyperledger, which is a private and permission blockchain. So talking about public blockchain, so uh, these I have already mentioned that we'll be going to discuss the consensus mechanisms or consensus methods in the later stage. So these public blockchains use the different consensus mechanisms to validate the transactions. So there are two consensus mechanisms that we are going to discuss in details in the next slide. So coming up to the hybrid blockchain. So hybrid blockchain is a combination of public and private blockchain. So it consists of both centralized and decentralized features. So some example of hybrid blockchain can be Dragon Chain or R3. Talking about side chain, so side chains are particularly blockchains running parallel to a main chain. So what a side chain actually does is it allows users to move digital assets between two different blockchains, and it improves the scalability and efficiency of a blockchain. So, an example of a sidechain can be a liquid network. So, coming forward to consensus mechanism. So, as I already told you that public blockchain functions through different consensus mechanisms. So, these consensus mechanisms are the process by which the blockchain validates transactions without using a third party or a bank. So there are two types of uh, or we can say there are two different consensus mechanisms majorly. First is proof of work and the second is proof of stake. So basically, what particularly proof of work is? So when we talk about proof of work, so proof of work is the technical term for mining. So you have heard of mining many times, right? So it was the, or we can say it is the original consensus mechanism, and it is still used by many cryptocurrencies. And proof of work is based upon cryptography, which uses a mathematical equations that only computer can solve. So let's say that someone wants to mine bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency like ethereum. So ethereum also uses proof of work mechanism as of now, but it is looking forward to like stop it in the coming days. So computers have to solve a mathematical equation, and for this they are rewarded with a cryptocurrency. So there are two issues with proof of work. So the first issue is it uses a lot of electricity, and the second use is it can only process a limited number of transactions simultaneously. So there are other consensus mechanisms as well. Like these are the two major consensus mechanisms that are being used in the industries. There are many more consensus mechanisms as well. So the initial consensus mechanism was proof of work, and the second most popular consensus mechanism is proof of stake. So, proof of stake, or we can say POS, it still uses the cryptographic algorithms for validations. But here, the transactions get validated by a chosen validator. And a validator is chosen on the basis of how many coins they hold. And it is also called as their stake. ठीक है. So in proof of stakes, the individuals are not technically mining a block, and there is no block reward. Instead of this, blocks are forced. So those who are participating in this process, they lock a specific number of coins on the network. So in this mechanism, the bigger a person's stake is, the more mining power they have, and the more are the chances that they'll be selected as the validator for the next block. So this is how proof of stake works. So coming to the comment section. Okay. What search engine? What happens in more than 15 minutes? Misbehaving hacking system. I guess. Okay, Vinayak is saying that he thinks that code is open sourced, so it. Acha, I guess since it's an open source code, it can't be hacked easily. What search engine can search on Web3? Or can search engines can search on both web 2 and web 3? Okay, so basically uh, talking about like web 3, so particularly Vinayak, web 3 is an addition to web 2. So basically what we are doing in web 3 is we are adding a decentralized aspect to uh, what web 2 है ना. So there is no as such search engine for web 3 or etc. So web 3 particularly runs on nodes, or there are wallets that you use to make your digital identities, and you can verify your identities from those. Okay, coming forward to Gitopia. So, as I already told you guys that I am a DevRel engineer at Gitopia. So, what particularly Gitopia is? So, talking about Gitopia, Gitopia is the next generation decentralized code collaboration platform for Web3. Or you can say that Gitopia is a code collaboration platform for Web3. And it is fueled by a decentralized network and interactive token economy. So, as of now, you can try our testnet. So, we are soon going to release another testnet super soon, and you can try the current testnet out there as well. So basically, let's discuss the need of decentralized code collaboration platforms. So what is the need of decentralization in code collaboration platforms, or why particularly decentralized code collaboration platforms are needed? So there are problems in centralized code collaboration platforms like censorships. So basically, GitHub and GitLab are the major centralized players in the code collaboration space, and they have the issue of censorship. So these platforms are controlled by a single authority, and they can censor, ban, or shut down any user or their projects. So a few days ago, there was a case of Faker.js. So there are many other cases in which, like, these centralized players have banned users or censored their repositories. The second thing is monopoly of centralized platforms. So today, most of the open source development collaborations are carried out on the platforms that are closed. So these platforms are making a profit from the success of open source, but they do not completely share their ideals on which the open source was particularly built on. The third thing is imposing policies. So these centralized code collaboration platforms are built by the community, but there is no community involvement in the policy making of these platforms. This means that the users don't have control over how the platform works, and this makes the platform unreliable. So there is single point of failure. We have discussed this in the Web 2 versus Web 3 part. There is no incentive in product growth. So there is no incentivization mechanism that aligns developers with platform growth. Particularly, there is no permanent data storage. So as you know that blockchain is immutable, so the data stored is permanent. If we build a code collaboration platform using web3 or a web3 based code collaboration platform, all the data, all the code that we'll write will be stored permanently over a blockchain. We have discussed censorship in the beginning, and another point that I mentioned, like forgot to mention in the slide, is open source incentivization. So basically, currently in the centralized code collaboration platforms like GitHub, the incentivization is done through sponsorships or donations, or like sponsorship stuffs currently. But this makes open source development unsustainable. So all the cryptocurrency based decentralized networks are open sourced, and in the Web3 based code collaboration platforms. The incentivization not depends on public donations, but instead we at Gitopia particularly we are building a economic design for the decentralized network, so that you users are rewarded to contribute to open source projects on the platform itself. So let's have a look at Gitopia. Let's have a look at Gitopia. Just a second, just checking that my screen is visible. Okay, great. You can go to Gitopia and you can try the testnet out. Also, you can join our Discord and Telegram community to stay updated for all our upcoming programs and stuffs. So we are soon going to launch many competitions, programs, and other activities where you can get rewarded, and all the announcements will be made on Discord and Telegram. So I request you all to join our Discord and Telegram community, try our testnet out. So you can go to the try our testnet page, connect your Gitopia wallet. So you can either create a new wallet or recover a existing wallet. So a wallet comes with a 24-word recovery phase. So let me recover my wallet. Just a second. Um, where is my JSON file? Okay, so just let me create a new wallet for you so that it makes more sense to you as well. Just a second. Okay, so I'll create a new wallet. I'll name my wallet. I'll create this backup done. Okay, so you can get a testnet token from the faucet here. So you can get a testnet token and try out the platform. So just click on get lore, and after the toggle goes away, just refresh your web page. Okay, so I think that that some deployment is in progress. So uh, I'll just check with my tech team. So they are deploying the next testnet. So due to which I think the faucet is not able to give lore tokens. But I request you all to go to gitopia.com. I'll It would be great if Simant, you can share this link to the YouTube chat. I have sent it over the private chat over StreamYard. Can you please share it on YouTube chat? So you all can go to gitopia.com. You can try our testnet, join our Discord and Telegram community, follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, and it would be great if you can follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter, and that's it from my side. Okay, so uh, Anika, I am done now.
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Um, So, I would like to thank you, sir, for taking out the time to enlighten us with your knowledge. It was a very insightful and intriguing session. I'm sure that the attendees gained a greater understanding of the Web 3.0, which would help them in their future projects and endeavors. Once again, thanks a lot, sir. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much, Anika, and the whole IEEE IEEE DTU team for inviting me to the session, and I hope the audience enjoyed a session. And you can always drop your feedbacks to me over LinkedIn or over Twitter. Open for the feedbacks, and if you are having any doubts or queries regarding Gitopia or regarding Web3, you can uh, reach me out anytime. So that's it from my side as well, and I hope you all have a nice weekend.